2023, and we are still gathering your spring break survival tips for parents. 236-330-2623. Now, even in the world of ultra marathons, the Barkley Marathons in Tennessee are infamous. This is about 100 miles. Runners have just 60 hours to finish the race. Last week, our next guest became not just the first Canadian to complete it ever, he won the whole thing. Ihor Verys is back home now in Chilliwack in the Fraser Valley. Ihor, hi there. Congratulations to you.
Hi, Gloria. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me back on your show.
Well, goodness, if you keep winning, we're going to keep having you back. This is amazing. I'm amazed you're even recovered to the extent where we can have this conversation. I mean, I kind of undersold this race. Just what does the Barkley Marathons actually entail?
Yeah, so Barkley Marathon is an ultimate endurance challenge where there's only a small amount of people get invited every year, around 40 people or so. It's a mystery, basically, so it's hard to get in. Nobody knows how to get in, but everybody knows about the existence of this race. So in essence, you cover this 26, 30-mile loop. Nobody knows exactly. In the Frozen Head State Park, most of it is off trail. You end up gaining around 4,000 meters elevation gain every single loop. It's nonstop. There's no aid stations. There's no support during the loop. There's no GPS watches involved. There's no phones allowed. So it's just old school map and compass, you and the forest and other runners there. And you do 5 loops of that in order to complete Barkley Marathons.
Oh, my goodness. Now, we know some years no one finishes this race, right? But this year, 5 people completed it, including the first woman. What can you tell us about Jasmine Paris?
Yeah, Jasmine made history, and I'm just so lucky to be able to witness it. She became the very first female to have ever completed Barkley Marathons. She had only 99 seconds to spare. So if you think about it, 60-hour event comes down to seconds, and she did it. She's the female from UK. She's one of the strongest athletes I've ever seen in my life, and she deserves it so much. And I'm so proud that she was able to finish it and prove the race director wrong, who always said that females cannot finish this race.
Way to go, Jasmine. There you go. Now, is it the same course every year?
So no, it's maybe half, some portion of it is the same, but it is changing. And every time there is a finisher, the race director likes to make it harder. So every year it's actually progressively getting harder. So some sections of the course remain the same, but there is always changes to the course, and we do get some sort of instructions the day prior and the master map to have a look at just a few hours before the race starts.
My. So why do you think 5 people were able to complete the race this year? And when, as I pointed out, sometimes no one manages to finish in time.
Yeah, I think it's a number of factors. Well, first of all, we were very lucky and fortunate with the weather. It wasn't raining. Usually, when it's foggy there, it's really hard to navigate. You cannot see anything in front of you. But we lucked out. It didn't rain. It was not foggy. The temperature was fairly low. It did get a little bit warm during the day, but that's nothing compared to foggy conditions. Second factor would be a number of good athletes. There were so many strong and solid veterans who have done this race before, including Jasmine Paris, because she attempted it twice, and this is her third attempt. And there are other strong runners in the mix. And we worked together for as long as we could, which is 4 loops. And on the 5th loop, we're not allowed to be in groups anymore. We have to be alone. We have to figure it out on our own. But by the 5th loop, we kind of figured out the course, and as much as it's possible. And yeah, by helping each other, we were able to achieve this, I guess, historic finish. 5 finishers, never happened before.
Yeah, but let's put this into perspective. What was your total time, Ihor?
It was 58 hours, 44 minutes, 59 seconds.
58 hours, 44 minutes. Like, think about that. We know that during this race, some runners can take short naps, 10 or 15-minute naps. You posted you did not sleep 1 second. How is that even possible?
I guess the body achieves what the mind believes, right? And I had experience previously, previous time we chatted with you when I went with almost with little to no sleep for 4 nights. So in comparison, this event I had to skip only 2 nights, so I guess it wasn't as bad. Granted, the exertion level is different here because you have to push, climb, and descend a lot at a solid effort. But yeah, for some reason, I mean, I was getting sleepy a little bit here and there, but it wouldn't stop me, from uh, keep going. And sleep deprivation wasn't actually a big issue at this race for me in
Oh
particular.
my goodness, I don't know how you do it. Well, what was for you the hardest part of this race?
Um, everything came to into place. I feel like all the training paid off, and everything I worked on. Some point, my feet started blistering. The bottom of them developed trench feet, so it's basically like blisters at the bottom of my feet because of all the wet conditions and not being able to change socks frequently enough. I would do it only 12, 13 hours every time I would complete a loop. And unfortunately, it wasn't soon enough for my feet. I guess my skin is weak, and so it blistered a little bit, and I ended up just suffering through for I guess almost 20 hours with those feet. But again, in the grand scheme of things, where so many things could go wrong, like nutrition, or your body conditions, cramping, nothing like that happened. So I was thinking about it. If I just suck it up for a little bit for those painful feet, it's not a big deal, compared to what could have happened potentially.
How are your feet and how are you? It hasn't even been a week.
Yeah, thank you. I'm feeling really good, getting lots of sleep, sleeping a lot, 9, 10 hours sometimes, and catching up on all the missed sleep. My feet are feeling much better. I can walk, even jog, but I force myself not to, just to make sure I fully recover first before I get back in.
Yeah. Well, when I talked to you in October, I certainly didn't imagine we'd be talking about you doing another race so soon. What's next for you? I'm almost afraid to ask, Ihor.
Nothing crazy planned at least. Just gonna do a few races. In Canada, I'm gonna travel across our beautiful provinces and exploring the trails here, and supporting local race directors and doing their local races.
And you're going to get some sleep in between, I hope.
That's right. No, yeah, for sure. Those races are gonna be 100K, 100 miles, so nothing really crazy like Barkley.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations again, and thank you so much for making time for us. All the best in your recuperation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gloria. Always pleasure talking to you.
That's Ihor Verys. He's this year's winner of the Barkley Marathons, and he's now back home recuperating in his hometown of Chilliwack. What amazing, amazing endurance.